my mouth and the meditation of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. So far in this new year, we have heard the story of Jesus' birth and baptism and met the strange camel hair wearing and locust eating John the Baptist. We now embark on an effort to understand the beginning of Jesus' ministry here on earth. Jesus' first task was to identify a group of followers who could assist him in his earthly mission and then carry it out even after the time had come for Jesus to leave us. In the passage that precedes today's gospel, we meet two men who are standing with John the Baptist as John passes by, and we hear John proclaim, here is the Son of God." Intrigued, the two men followed Jesus, who, realizing he was being pursued, turned to them and asked, "What are you looking for?" The two men answered, "Rabbi, where are you staying?" And Jesus said simply, "Come and see." A simple invitation, come and see. Follow me, and you will come to understand. The two men did indeed follow Jesus to the place where he was staying, and they remained with him throughout the day. One of the two, Andrew, went to his brother, Simon Peter, and exclaimed, "We have found the Messiah." Simon Peter followed his brother to Jesus and became the second disciple. It's worth noting that this process of calling the disciples involves both a call and a response. Jesus called Andrew, who responded and called his brother, Simon Peter, who came to be known as Peter. The very next day, for whatever reason, Jesus decided to go to Galilee, and he found Philip there, and he said to him, "Follow me." And so Philip did. Philip then sought out his hometown friend, Nathanael, and excitedly proclaimed to him, "We have found the one about whom Moses and the prophets wrote." He then added, "He's Jesus, the son of Joseph of Nazareth." Rather than responding with astonishment or eager anticipation, Nathanael quips, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Nathanael's response takes me right back to my senior year in high school, when certain towns were deemed uncool for reasons known only to the partially developed teenage brain. One such town was Parma, Ohio. Parma was a working-class suburb of Cleveland where the blue-collared residents often wore white socks with their uniforms instead of the dark socks that businessmen in the neighboring town of Shaker Heights wore with their Hart Schaffner and Marks or Hickey Freeman suits. For some unknown reason, the kids would call out "Parma" whenever they saw someone dressed in a way that deviated from the preppy norms of those days. Things must not have been much better for the residents who lived in Nazareth, a small town far away from the major cities, known for being a place where nothing much ever happened. Calling someone a Nazarene was a bit like calling him or her a country bumpkin. Philip, however, is unfazed by Nathanael's somewhat impertinent remark. "Come and see," is his response. "Come and see. Despite his skepticism that anything good could come from Nazareth, Nathanael follows Philip to Jesus. When they meet, it is Jesus who speaks first, commenting on Nathanael's lack of deceit. What an odd thing to comment on. Biblical scholars tell us that Jesus may have been alluding to Jacob, an Israelite who you may remember tricked his brother Esau and lied to his father so that he could steal his brother's inheritance. The important point here is that Jesus sees Nathanael as he is. He sees him even before Nathanael comes to see Jesus or know Jesus. He sees him as a good and honest man, even though they are meeting for the very first time. Nathanael is surprised, and he asks Jesus how he knows him so well. And Jesus replies that he saw Nathanael under a fig tree before Philip called him, even before he was called. Jesus opens his eyes and his heart to us even before we know him, and sees us for who we truly are inside. There are several important points here in this story that I'd like to highlight. First, a call to follow Jesus could come from Jesus himself, but it may also come from a friend or a neighbor, contemporary of some kind. Second, as our psalm said today, Jesus knows our comings and our goings. He knows us from the very depth of our souls, even before we come to know him. And third, Jesus knows us so deeply, so much more deeply than we can even imagine. And he sees us and he loves us. One of my favorite ways to read a Bible passage is to find a character I identify with and read the passage from their perspective. Perhaps you'd like to join me in this endeavor this morning. Do you identify with Andrew or Philip in that your call to follow Christ came directly from God? And have you, like them, proclaimed Jesus to be the Messiah, invited others to come and see? Or perhaps you see yourself more like Peter or Nathanael, in that it was a friend, a neighbor, someone you knew from your hometown who invited you to come and see, and you followed. Note that there's kind of a circular pattern here. The one who has been called follows that call and then calls others. Perhaps an even more important question is, which character do you aspire to be? Do you aspire to call others to Christ by inviting them to come and see? Do you aspire to follow the call of Jesus and share it with your friends, neighbors, or relatives? And just how is it that we invite others to come and see? A few of us may be like Andrew or Philip and feel comfortable inviting a friend or a newcomer to our neighborhood to a Sunday service, or perhaps a potluck or a musical event. Others may look for more subtle ways. Whatever our approach, we invite others to come and see each time we extend kindness to a stranger or dedicate our time to helping others who are less fortunate. We proclaim Jesus to be the Messiah, invite others to allow themselves to be known by him when we take a stand against injustice and work to ensure equal opportunity for all people. When we choose to follow Jesus, we come to understand that God knows us so deeply and loves us so much without condition. And when we allow that knowledge to sink deeply into our soul, we cannot help but want to share it with everyone we meet by saying, "Come and see the Messiah, the Son of the living God." After seeing how deeply Jesus knew him, Nathanael proclaimed, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." Jesus essentially replies, "If you think that was good, Nathanael, just wait. Wait, and you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man." That's certainly worth coming to see. In the name of Christ, amen.